Hello YouTubers out there, this is Jerry to Movies with your host, Jerry Sadavia. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be discussing a YouTube user and their channel, and it's called the Spoony Experiment. This is from Noah Antweiler. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And I'll put the link on my description so that you can check it out for yourself. And this guy, I've first noticed him back in 2008 when he reviewed Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which he completely detested. But it was a funny three-part video that he did discussing all the cons, mostly, of that movie. Now, he is, this channel is an online comedy video series, and he basically, most of the time, reviews video games, all kinds of video games. He's an avid gamer, as he says in his description, of nearly everything that can be played. That includes consoles, computers, cards, board games, tabletop RPGs, etc. Xbox, whatever. I mean, this guy, he's as detailed as you can imagine. He plays an entire video game and talks about it, discusses all the pros and cons. In some cases, like with Final Fantasy, some of the games he doesn't even finish because, for whatever reason, repetition, maybe it's the same old thing, etc. But anyway, this guy is very popular, particularly with the video game community. He has over 9,535,000 views and 67,000 subscribers. That's very impressive. I mean, I think I have 88 subscribers and over 275,000 views total for my channel. So, this guy's a lot more popular than I am. Anyway, he reviews films on occasion and comic books. The films is what interests me, although the video game reviews are very funny, I gotta say. Films he's reviewed include everything from Yor the Hunter from the Future, from back in 1983, for those 1980s movie nuts out there that might be aware of that picture. Most recently, he reviewed Iron Man 3, Pacific Rim, After Earth. So he looks at a lot of sci-fi comic book type movies. Star Trek Into Darkness, which he really liked. You're not going to find that you're going to find there's more often than not movies he dislikes. And that brings him into focus here because of the film reviewing. Now, film criticism has become so mainstream that now there are bloggers everywhere. Now, his reviews are entertaining for the most part. Some of them are way too long, but that's for another time. But basically, a lot of bloggers are reviewing movies today. There are many, many, many reviews out there, including on YouTube. And there's quite a few to sift through. So to find the ones that are really to your liking is one thing. And I kind of like the way Noah looks at movies in particular. But what a lot of bloggers make the mistake of doing, not so much the, if you like, professional film critics, but let's say the amateurs for the most part. And I am an amateur too. I used to be a professional. I'm mostly an amateur now, meaning I don't get paid for it. But anyway, point is this, that when you review a film, there's something you have to keep in mind about quality. Now, it's very possible, for example, that Roger Ebert, he didn't like Ghost. He said it was a good movie, but he couldn't recommend it. Ghost being the 1990 film with Patrick Swayze. Now, he also thought Big Chill was a good movie, but he couldn't recommend it. So, all that means is that that's your opinion. The like or dislike is the opinion. And that becomes a little tricky, because what if you see a great movie, you would probably want to recommend it. But as you know, if it's usually dependent, I think, a lot on subject matter. So if it's a subject matter that's not to your liking, you might say, it's really well done. They did a fantastic job, but I never want to see that movie again. There's that. And that also becomes tricky whether you recommend such a movie. Now, more often than not, for me, I look at things a little different. I mean, if it's a good movie, I will recommend it. But if it's not to my liking in particular, then I'm not going to really think it's that good a movie. So, for example, a lot of critics really liked The Social Network. I had a mixed review about it. The performances were good. The direction is solid. But the material wasn't there for me. It felt a little bit one note to me, with a character that frankly I would never want to become Facebook friends with, and that would be the founder of Facebook, as you all know who that is. So I wouldn't really recommend the film, but I'm not sure I would really call it a good movie. Probably it is, but again, that's the quality. And there is quality, of course, from any film by David Fincher, certainly. Zodiac in particular. But that becomes tricky. But what you can't really do is something Noah does. Now, I don't know if he's doing this for comedic effect or not, but for example, with Iron Man 3, he said, I liked the movie, but it sucked. Now, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, if it sucks, that means it's not good. You don't like it, whatever the case may be. You can't like a movie and then still say it's shit, because that makes no sense. You can't do that. Indiana Jones, for example, his review, he detested it. He said it was horrible, but that it was merely just adequate. Now that doesn't make any sense either, because if it's adequate, well, okay, then it's mediocre. You may still not recommend it, but then it's not a horrible movie, is it? So that's why I would love to meet this guy someday and actually do a guest co-host with him of a movie and see, because sometimes I'm not clear about it. He's entertaining to listen to, but I'm not clear about where his focus is at. The same thing with Pacific Rim. He found the characters to be one-dimensional. Now, I disagree. They were at least two and a half to almost 3 dimensions, but they were colorful, interesting characters. And I like the comic relief in the movie. He only likes the last 15, 20 minutes of the movie where the robots are fighting the kaiju, which are the sea monsters. But that's really throughout the movie. There's a lot of those type of sequences peppered with these characters who are the pilots inside these robots, etc. If you've seen the movie, you would know about Pacific Rim. So I would disagree with that, but he said it was okay, but he only really liked the last 15, 20 minutes. That, you gotta balance that a little bit differently. I think what happens is he is very passionate about the way he discusses movies, but he hasn't really thought it through enough, I think. But I would still recommend checking out his channel. But film criticism, you kind of have to balance it a little bit. If the material works, direction is good, the acting is good, the editing is barely noticeable so that you're really in the film and you don't realize how long the running time is, you might want to recommend it. But if the characters are ciphers, they're not very interesting, but the direction is still good and the acting is still good, you may not care for the characters, only because, again, they're very singularly dimensional, meaning just one-dimensional, as opposed to 3-dimensional. But then there may be other reasons. It may be that the material is mediocre to you and it's treated well and directed well, but may be a good movie, but you don't recommend it. But with Noah, I think gets a little confused, but he shows a lot of passion, so do check out his channel. But anyone out there who wants to be a film critic has to realize too that sometimes there may be a good movie and you do like it, but you can't like something and then not recommend it. I don't understand that, but then that's just me. And I've written reviews for a long time, and I still don't understand how people can say things like that. Noah does. But check out his channel and see what you think. And this is Jerry Do Movies with your host, Jerry Sadavia, signing off.